Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 1, best bets, gold, silver, bronze picks, and whatever other random elements that Cam wants to throw out. I bought him a periodic table. He has it not behind him. He has it in front of him. So we can give us some lithium picks of the week or something like that.
Yes.
Either way, we're going to try to bring some winners. Maybe not as many as last year, unfortunately, because I feel like that's relatively unsustainable. So here's what I need you to do, because here's the best way to win money this week. Enter the Pat Mayo Experience $1,000 giveaway. You win $500, $250. It's divvied up. It's not $1,000 to one person. It's $500, $250, $250. All you need to do, it's super simple. Sub to Mayo Media Network on YouTube. That one's easy. Boom, you just did that. That takes 2 seconds. Then either go to Apple or Spotify or both if you really want to. Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Set it to auto downloads. Leave a 5-star review. Email or Twitter handle in there, and boom, you're in the draw. We're giving away the winners on next Wednesday's Pat Mayo Experience. Remember to turn on those auto downloads. I don't care if you listen, but I need those downloads, all right? I'm trying to sell ads here. So help me out on that front. Rob Pizzola and Cam Stewart are on the line. Season 2 of The Best Bets, the hottest new show of 2021 is back. Hopefully we don't have a letdown. Hopefully this isn't like Homeland Season 2, Rob.
Homeland Season 2 was fine. I think it was Season 3 that was the letdown, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I mean, it was a great year last year. I'm stoked to be doing this show again this season. I'm not so stoked about this bay window that's directly shining light into my eyes that I was unable to fix before the show. But football's back, man. I mean, this is the best time of year for me. I'm just a huge football fan, so really happy to be on board again with you guys.
Cam, over under 35.5 bets you already have in for week 1.
Actually under right now, Pat. I got a couple bets in the BMW and golf, and I've sprinkled away. I got about like 18 right now. I've never seen, what's it called? Homeland? Never seen it. I have no idea. I've seen like ads for it. Never seen that show. By the way, Pat, I was, you know how Feinberg ripped me for my peri-peri sauce and stuff, and I saw his little rant from the other show. I know what peri-peri sauce is, the liquid. I was talking about a dry rub. That's why it was different than the liquid. And by the way, I took a Flex Seal for a spin. I got a leak in my kitchen, and it doesn't work. I don't care what Phil Swift says. He's not going through a marsh full of gators with Flex Seal in that boat, because I can tell you one thing: he's dead. Wow. He's gator meat. I'm telling you, I put it there, and it makes a nice barrier, but the problem is eventually it leaks through, and now I just got big chunks of like liquid plastic back there, and it really smells. That's the problem. Like with the water hits it's toxic.
So what you're saying is that Sebastian Munoz is never coming on your show on Sports Grid in order to talk.
Yeah, he could come on the show. I'll just tell him Flex Seal's it's a bullshit. Like that product. Like I've never tried the tape nor the paste, but I got the spray. And I was trying to I had a little hole in the sink, a little small leak. Does not work. Started off great, keeps on leaking, goes to the back, and it smells. So F-.
Well, before we jump into the picks, I need to let you know about the new presenting sponsor of the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Flex Seal. Oh, Cam.
Oh, no. I'll try the tape. Try the tape and the paste. But I'll tell you, the spray, it's just, that stuff's really dangerous too. Hey, drug addicts, if you really want to get high, Flex Seal, like it'll do you better than a can of spray paint. I can tell you that. This stuff's lethal. It reeks.
Almost as dangerous as eating popcorn before bed.
Oh, way more dangerous, Pizzola. Way more dangerous.
I thought thousands of people a year, though, die of popcorn before bed. How many?
Flex Seal, the silent killer. That's the thing. You don't know when it gets in your lungs, and then you got a real problem. It's like asbestos. It's a pick 'em.
So, again, actually, before we do get to the gold picks, Rob, myself, and Cam had a huge announcement yesterday. More so Rob than anything else. But if you want more exclusive content from myself, Cam, and Rob, or me, Cust, and Feinberg, you need to head on over to The Hammer. Because The Hammer is the brand new website, just launched, multimedia, podcast, everything you need. If you like betting on sports, whether you're super serious, super casual, there is something for everyone. Rob, you're like the man over there, so take it away. Tell everyone about The Hammer.
Yes, it's been a vision of mine for a long time. I think really what I wanted to do is try to bridge all the sports betting content. Typically, you have your recreational content, you have your sharp content. No one's really been able to build a community for all bettors, and that's what I'm really trying to do. So anyone who wants to check out some betting content, head over to The Hammer. The website is thehammer.bet.bet. We will be posting regular content over the course of the football season, adding stuff for NBA, NHL, MMA, golf, so on and so forth. But really excited. We have a community of 50 creators to start, only going to expand in the near future, and there should be something there for everyone.
So
why the hammer?
Yeah. Get the hammer.
Like you're watching. Yeah. It's just is that your side gig there, Pizzola? Just the hammer, just slaying people in porn.
Well, fair enough. The original name of the network, I'll air it now, was actually going to be called the Banger Betting Network.
Oh, so both sexual connotations, hammers and banging.
Now, excellent. I didn't really think about the sexual connotation with the hammer. It was more so like trying to, when you bet a game, you're going to make a big bet. You're saying, I'm hammering it. You're going to hammer it, right? So that's where it sort of came from. I wasn't really thinking about dongs when I was making the name of the network.
How about sprinkles and hammers? Because some people just like to sprinkle and other people like to hammer. But anyway,
it's a little bit, you mean, like, I also want a simple URL, right? Like hammer.bet.
Yeah,
it's very easy. If you have to go to sprinklesandhammers.com, like that's going to be a little bit more challenging for people.
That doesn't sound very clean either.
No, it does. I mean, sprinklesandhammers.com is just like the end of the game, right? That's where you get your money shot. Rob's money shots of the week. Sprinkles and hammers.
Yes.
There we go.
The hammers. There we go. Yep. Excellent.
All right, we got football to talk about, fellas. Let's get into the gold picks. Cam crushed us and crushed like every person on earth in gold picks last year. So
Pat, I know you're the host, but again, like I just said, don't we start with bronze and work our way
up? No,
we
don't.
We
don't. I know that's how you would like to do it. That's not how this works.
Okay.
You're
the captain of the ship. I like to work my way up to the
that's not how we do it. We're working on retention time here. Retention time, a very important metric of both videos and podcasts. Okay. People want the best picks, and then they want to leave. That's what they want to do. The diehards, they stick around. They're going to find them all out anyway, and they're going to find out why popcorn kills you or why you want to stab someone this week. That's what they're sticking around for towards the end. I'm going with my gold pick. It's the bet that I have the biggest thing on so far this week. And I see that the VIG from DraftKings Sportsbook has finally kind of flopped. It was minus 105 for a while, but I'm taking the easy road here. Can't wait to get screwed by it, but Baltimore -7 at the Jets. The Jets are terrible. The Ravens are good. Feels like this should be 13.5. It's not. -7, Ravens. Joe Flacco is starting at quarterback, Rob. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. I know
Joe Flacco.
Some people are talking about it like it's an upgrade. I can personally see that because I think Zach Wilson is so bad. To me, there's only one way to look in the game. It's Baltimore or nothing. I know a lot of people are going to talk themselves into a lot of the home dogs this week. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to bet whatever they want. But I do think that there are some really bad football teams. I think Baltimore, to me, like you look at last season, the amount of injuries they suffered on defense. They have a fully healthy defense going into this year. I think that's a big factor for them. They get Ronnie Stanley back at left tackle. If he's anything close to what he was a couple years ago, which is an all-pro left tackle, then you have a pretty solid offensive line. I just don't know that the Jets have the firepower to keep pace in week one. So I agree. I mean, I made this game just slightly above 7. That's the only way I could look. In terms of Flacco, I mean, the guy has historically been terrible under pressure, or at least below average under pressure. This was even when he was a good quarterback back in the day. You get a Ravens defense who blitzes pretty much just as much as anyone in the league. I mean, it's the NFL. Weird things happen on a weekly basis, but I think Baltimore's a pretty good football team. I think the Jets are a bottom 5 football team. I think if I had to pick a side in the game, it's Baltimore, Cam.
I don't really like the game. And I'll tell you one thing about the Jets. You guys are morons. You should have kept Chris Strevler. Guy was a good quarterback in the Canadian Football League and a backup in Arizona. And he's better than the Magic Mike White. I can tell you that. Strevler's fine.
Strevler is the preseason GOAT. As soon as you see Chris Strevler come into a preseason game, you go and live bet whatever team. Yeah. The problem is people talk themselves into stuff like this because, he's playing a bunch of third stringers, right?
Yes, Pizzola, but he was good in Arizona too. He's a good third string. I'm not saying second. He is a serviceable third string quarterback. The guy's actually he's a gamer. Anyway, I'm not running the Jets organization.
Hold on. You think that he's better than Hall of Famer Mike White?
No, way better. Mike White sucks. Guy had one good game. Strebler's good. He's durable. He's been in the league a long time. He knows different offenses. Canadian Football League quarterback, Arizona backup. The guy's fine.
Cam, if he didn't play in the CFL, you'd say he fucking sucks too. We know he sucks.
No, I wouldn't. No, Pat. It's not like anyway. Let's move on. Who cares? What a Chris Strebler, guy's third stringer. Anyway, yes, he had a great preseason. I apologize.
Practice squad MVP, Chris Stregler. Wasn't he like a Canadian football?
Strebler.
He played a playoff game for Arizona, right? He was a starting quarterback.
And he did good.
Sounds like he was great. What was that when they were running out like Lindley and Rich Uncle Skelton at quarterback?
Yeah,
skeleton.
Forgot about the skeleton and Lindley. That's a bad batch.
So
bad batch.
Baltimore -7 for me. Cam, let's build on this momentum. What's your gold pick?
Putting a lot of pressure on me. I was going after like two really dirty dogs. I'm going to settle on the Houston Texans.
Nope.
I don't like the fact that this line has been bet down. I liked it a hell of a lot better at 8.5 when it opened up. But you know what? I think Indianapolis is a great team. They're going to win that division, but asking them to win by more than a touchdown on the road in week 1, I think the Texans are going to surprise people. I think their defense is a little bit better than advertised. I don't mind Davis Mills. I think it's going to be a real grind them out. Everyone's going to have this game as their survivor pick too. I think Indy squeaks out a win. Give me the exaggerated points with the Houston Texans and Lovey.
Well, you can catch Rob, Cam, and I doing our survivor pick breakdown over at the Hammer sometime on Thursday, so you can most definitely check that out. I am so.
Why are you shaking your head, Rob?
I mean, I don't like.
I'll let Pat give his rebuttal before I jump on the pool. Jump in the pool here. Yeah.
Well, I've already seen Paul's -28 for Indianapolis this week. Cust very big on the Houston Texans, just like general public is big on the Houston Texans this week. The Texans aren't good. The Colts are good, and now. Like they're going to have their entire defense healthy. It's not so much that I agree with you, Cam. I think that the Texans defense is better than advertised. They can get to the quarterback. They're not horrible, but they just don't have enough to score points on this also very good Indianapolis defense. Like there's certain, it's funny, like year after year when you have some continuity within these divisions, you just see different trends end up coming. Like there's something with the Jags, how they're coached, their skill sets, and matching up against the Frank Reich Indianapolis Colts. It's a problem, but it's not a problem when they take on the Texans. They're going to absolutely wax the Texans, Rob.
Okay.
I tend to agree.
There goes my gold picks.
No. Let's review last year. I think every time myself and Pat ragged on your gold pick,
it won.
You ended up winning in flying colors. So
the problem is it's a public dog. That's why but it's already in my head.
Don't worry about that stuff. Don't worry about that stuff. Here's the thing for me. Indy and Houston played 2 times last year. The spreads in those games were Indy -10, Indy -11.5. I don't know what has happened over the course of this offseason where we're getting to Indy -7. Like the Colts, to me, upgraded at quarterback. I think that their defense is better, especially at cornerback. I think the Texans are also better. Don't get me wrong, but they got pasted they got outscored 62-3 by the Colts last year. Huge coaching mismatch, in my opinion, with Frank Reich against Lovie Smith. I don't know. I think people are talking themselves into Houston because they closed the season a little bit better last year. Typically, we do see that. The sentiment to start the next year is how did the team end the season, the previous season? But I don't know. I think Indy's is pretty deep here. The one thing I will say in support of Cam's pick, yes, I will say something in support of Cam's pick. If you go back for like the last couple decades and you look at divisional home dogs in week 1, for some reason or another, they cover at like a 75% clip.
It is. I actually just looked at it. It's in the past, I believe it is 8 years. The dogs in a division week 1 matchup cover at a 64% clip.
Yeah, it's quite high. I don't know if it's just randomness or not, or if there's something to that. But personally, I just don't see like why the spreads from last year to now should have been adjusted this much.
And here's the crazy thing about it. Like it's week 1. So the Colts have this horrible history of playing in week 1. They just get beat every single week 1. So people are latching onto that. And it's week 1. People want to find an upset pick in order to take. So like I know people that are betting Houston money line. Like maybe they're right. Maybe they'll have all of the winnings in the world. This just doesn't seem like the right one to me.
Yeah, I don't really know where they match up well against the Colts. I don't see it. I mean, maybe Davis Mills is ready to take that next step. Personally, I don't think so. I think he still has a weak arm. I think He did show a little bit of promise towards the end of last season, but I still have him as a well below average quarterback going into the year. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about numbers, right? And more so than the teams. And like, if you gave me a Houston +10, I'd be very interested in that in week 1, but 7, I don't know. I don't know that they keep it within a touchdown, my personal opinion.
So Houston +7 for Cam, Baltimore -7 for me. Rob, gold star pick.
Great start to the year for Cam, by the way. First thing he says gets absolutely shit on for the next 2 minutes in terms of picks. Cam, I know how this works. I know how this show works.
No, this is good. This, you know,
Yeah,
but if I'm right again, you guys can do this every week. But if I'm wrong, I need a new strategy. Houston, I love that line open up at 8.5. But anyway, Rob, I'll continue. I don't like the fact that it's been bet down. That's a concern, but I think they keep it close. That's all.
Okay. Gold pick for me. Cleveland Browns +1.5,
Love it.
-110. Preparing for Baker Mayfield to ruin my Sunday. However, I don't know how are the Panthers favored in this game? I get it. Like, Baker is upgrade at quarterback over Darnold. But like, if you look at these rosters on paper, the Browns are significantly better than the Panthers at pretty much every positional group across the board. Maybe not wide receiver. Everything else,
or
Cleveland has a huge or quarterback. Correct. But like, Brissett is a fine fit for this offense, right? They still have a very good offensive line. They still have a very good running game. I don't think Carolina's defense poses much of a threat. A lot of people are going to point to Carolina's numbers defending the run last year, 4.1 yards per carry allowed. Yeah, that's pretty decent. I mean, not when you adjust for the fact that they faced one of the worst slates of opposing running games in the NFL. I do think Cleveland will be able to run all over them. I'm still very concerned about Baker behind that Panthers offensive line. Welcome to the NFL, Ike Ekwonu. Like, that's going to be a horrible matchup against Myles Garrett in game 1. The interior of that offensive line, Pat Elflein at center, Corbett, Michael Jordan, that's not great. That O-line gave up 52 sacks last year. And what we know about Baker and what we've seen with Baker is when you can pressure him, he's going to make some bad decisions. So I think the Browns should be favored in this game. And it's not like I think, oh, this is like a pick 'em. There's a little bit of value here. I think there's been a massive adjustment to the downgrade from Deshaun Watson to Jacoby Brissett. I think Brissett is at least like a game manager, can handle this offense, not make a bunch of critical mistakes like Baker did last year. On top of that, I like the Browns coaching staff quite a bit more than I like Matt Rule with the Panthers as well. Who's the OC there? Ben McAdoo. Thanks for coming out, boys. Browns win this game. I like them +1.5.
I'm with Rob. Cam, what do you think?
Love the Browns. We talk about adding minerals, tungsten, and whatever. The Browns made my list too. That I usually have about 6 or 7. That was definitely there. I will play the Browns as well. Love them.
All right, let's move to the silver picks, and Cam, we'll start with you on this one. So it's not Cleveland because they're a tungsten pick. What's the silver pick?
I love betting every game. I have to narrow this down. Give me the Giants. I want the Giants at plus. What am I getting? 6.5. What am I getting? 6. 6.5. What am I getting here? I don't have the DraftKings lines because I can't log in and do all that stuff. So I'm looking at other books.
You got 5.5.
What do you guys got?
You got 5.5 on the Giants.
I'll still take it. I'll take it at 5.5. I like the Giants in this spot. I think Tennessee is due for regression. You know what? I know this is a crazy pick as well, but this is what I do on the show, guys. Maybe I'm going to get absolutely pummeled this week and have to regroup and figure it out. Regroup at the Red Lobster and come up with a new strategy. But I think Danny Dimes will be okay in this game. I see major problems. And you know what? The Titans had some injuries too. I don't like that secondary. They're a little bit erratic. I think Tannehill, I don't care if it's contract year. I'm not really impressed. I think the Giants actually come into this game and could win this game outright. So I know it's a little bit of a stretch. There's a lot of things that I like, a lot of other games. I don't know. I'm probably picking the wrong ones, but you know, Rob got Cleveland and I like Cleveland too. But give me the damn G-men in Tennessee. I think they can win this game, so I'm going to take the points.
I've heard a lot of people, sharp people, Rob, on this one. I'm starting to think, because everyone doesn't believe in Tennessee, that Tennessee might just be the play here. For me, like, it's probably a stay away, because I don't think the Giants are any good whatsoever.
I start to think that
people want.
Go ahead, Pat.
People want them to be really good, and they have recognizable. They're a New York team. Like, everyone they have is going to be way overhyped. They have Dayball coming in, but is he really going to turn around Danny Dimes in this offense with an already banged up Kadarius Toney, the corpse of Kenny Golladay? Maybe Barkley's back to being 100% Barkley. Can they block? Maybe. They should be okay. But I still see, even losing, a main cog on their defense, Tennessee should still be able to generate pressure. And if their only game plan is hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, this is one of those games where that can work.
Yes, until you remember that Cust loves the Titans. And then all of that goes right out the window. I don't know what it is with the guy. He literally will curse. He just has like that touch where it doesn't matter what he touches, it turns to shit. I don't like either of these teams. I'll make it explicitly clear. I wish they weren't playing each other in week 1 so I could bet against both of them. With that said, there's no chance I would lay these points with Tennessee. No chance. I think there's enough upside with the Giants potentially in that Dayball comes in there and is able to get something out of that team. Tennessee's pretty much average across the board. You look at their numbers offensively without A.J. Brown last year, it was such a huge drop-off for Tannehill in those games where A.J. Brown was out. I think that's a huge difference maker this year. They did draft Treylon Burks. He also was like 4th on the depth chart for a lot of preseason. They've had to elevate him now because they don't really have a lot of options. I just don't think that Tennessee is a team that I could possibly lay points with here. So I do agree with Cam. I'm not betting Giants 5.5. I do think the Giants are the right side in the game, though. With that said, I would be like, I'll be very happy to fade the Giants at many points this year because I still don't think their offensive line is good enough. I think Danny Dimes, that this guy just cannot feel pressure. Like he cannot. He just has that, like those 2 fumbles a game where everyone that's watching the TV knows he's about to get hit, but he's the only guy on the field that has no clue. And I agree that the supporting cast is not as great as people think, especially since Kenny Golladay looks like he's an 89-year-old man out there. So all this sounds like, I'm trashing the Giants, which I am, but I still think that if you have to play a side in this game, it's New York.
Okay, so I'll give out my silver pick. I'm also taking a 5.5 point dog. One of my favorite bets from the preseason was Falcons to make the playoffs at 8-1. And I really like the Falcons plus 5.5 at home against the Saints in this game. I think the Saints are being wildly overrated coming into the year. Like Jameis, fine. Is he better than Mariota? I mean, at draft time, people thought yes. That's why he went 1 and Mariota went 2. But people are written off Mariota like he's an absolute scrub. Don't think that's the case. And I don't think that the drop-off from 74-year-old Matt Ryan a year ago to Mariota this year is overly substantial. And I look at their defense. They still have solid corners on the outside. Probably no Michael Thomas, or at least he's banged up already again with a hamstring. You're going to have no Traquan. You have no Sean Payton. That's a huge loss. Year 2 of Arthur Smith. Now, Drake London might be banged up. It looks like he's going to play. But you'll have Drake London. You're going to have Kyle Pitts. And you're going to have Cordero Patterson out of the backfield with 2 good corners on the other side. Will New Orleans be able to run it down their throats? Probably. But if we're just going to get into a contest where you're milking clock and only running the ball, I want the team with the points. I don't mind a sprinkle on the money line in this one, Cam. I think that Atlanta is just being wildly disrespected for a team that won 7 games last year. Their over-under's 4.5 for the year. It's insane.
I almost want to switch all my picks and go with Cleveland, Atlanta, and all the other things that I'm not going to pick, but I agree with you, Pat. I like the Falcon. I think it's a close game. Saints squeak out a win, take the generous points with Atlanta. Mariota has a lot to prove as well, too. I like what I saw from him. I think it's going to be a tighter game than people think.
Rob, this is now when you shit all over Atlanta.
No, it's not. It's actually, I'm actually going to pick the same game for my silver, but I'm going to take the total. I like the over 42 at DraftKings, which I think is a good number here. I don't think this is deserving of being one of the lowest totals on the board. I do think that there's firepower on both of these teams' offenses. We could talk about Jameis. Like, Jameis was having the best season of his career until he got injured last year. He's actually surrounded by weapons. The offensive line is going to be a concern for the Saints this year, but the Falcons are not the team that's going to exploit that. Like, you look at the Falcons front 7 on defense, Grady Jarrett is basically their best player there. He had a down year last year. They just don't generate pressure. So I think that in good conditions, inside a dome, you have Jameis, who can dump it off to Kamara here and there. They add Chris Olave in the draft, Jarvis Landry as well. I think that's a team that's going to score a lot of points against the Falcons defense. With that said, I echo your sentiment on Mariota. The first stringers, whether it was Mariota or Ritter, whoever was out there in the preseason, that first team offense looked very good. They have legitimate weapons. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Drake London. Cordero Patterson had a coming out party. The Saints defense is very good, but you get Mariota moving, especially if this is a game where the Saints are leading. I do expect that Atlanta will play fast as well. I think 42 is just a very low number in this game. I was surprised. It actually took a little bit of under money. I think both teams are going to score into the 20s here. I don't know if Atlanta will cover. I do think that it's an Atlanta or nothing type of bet, but I prefer the over in this game.
Looking at it too, that when we think about regression, I always more or less think about it in terms of defense other than anything else. Like an offensive piece can remain relatively stable if you keep the same coordinator, running back, and offensive line. Generally speaking, as long as you don't lose your best offensive weapon at a skill position, your offense is going to look relatively similar as it did a year ago. I don't feel like defense ever works that way. So when you have these top 5 defenses and bottom 5 defenses, like Rob, it's so rare to see a team go from, let's say, the 27th ranked offense to the 3rd ranked offense overnight, unless Russell Wilson becomes your quarterback, unless there's some sort of huge change. However, we see it every single year. One of these bottom 5 defenses, all of a sudden they're like 13th for no good reason. They're just a little bit better. Like last year, Atlanta had a below 4% adjusted sack rate. No other team was below 5.3. They were that bad at getting to the passer. I feel like that's so historically bad, it can't be that bad again.
Listen, that's possible. Like the regression to the mean is a real thing. It's just that they didn't really change much on their defense in the offseason. I do think that a lot of the teams that eventually just make that jump at least have some sort of offseason where you see improvements in terms of personnel. And Atlanta just really didn't have that. Atlanta has really good cornerbacks, like they do. But the problem is they just cannot generate any pressure whatsoever. You give opposing quarterback time in the pocket to find an open person, they're going to do it. And I just don't see the personnel where that's going to change. Maybe I'm wrong. I do agree that every now and then you do see a defense that just comes out of nowhere and has a great season, or vice versa, where everyone expects them to be like an elite defense. Cue Denver last year, where everyone was talking about them like this great defense going into the year, and then all of a sudden they just fall off a cliff. It's a very unpredictable sport. I would be floored if the Falcons end up like a top half defense. I would be floored if they're in the top 20 in terms of defensive efficiency. There's just not much talent there. If they're going to win games, I think it'll be on the backs of their offense.
Well, Cam, I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe they don't need to be the 13th ranked defense. They go from 31st to 22nd. Like, that's a huge improvement over what they did a year ago.
Agree.
And looking at the Saints, they were the number 3 defense last year. That if all of a sudden they're the 11th best defense, well, they're significantly worse on defense all of a sudden.
These guys play each other tight too. It just doesn't, like, you know what I mean? And I love the Saints this year. I think they can actually win the division to beat Tampa Bay, but it's week 1 in the season. I think Mariota has a lot to prove. Pitts is going to be dangerous. That's the thing about the Falcons. I think their offense is actually going to surprise a lot of people. Rob's right, though. Their defense, they got some major holes, and I agree with the total. I think even though the Saints have a good D, I think there's going to be points scored. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 28 to 24 type of game, like 52, maybe 31, 27. I think the Falcons just cover the number in this spot. I think it's a really tight game.
Moving on to the bronze selections of week 1. Cam, we'll start with you.
I'm having a problem. I don't know what to do. There's so many things. Okay, these are the things that I like. Minnesota, Seattle, Washington, Philly, Chargers, and Arizona.
I think I like.
You already took Cleveland.
I guess, yeah. I think I like almost every other side of that game, so I'm probably not the one to talk to.
I do like when Cam does this, though. I like when he throws out the rest of the board and just we settle on like a consensus pick for the
Actually, it never works. Screw it. Give me. What's the line in that Chiefs game, Pat?
It is up to 6.
6.
Sold. Give me the Arizona Cardinals +6 at home against the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs are going to be fine, and all this demise about Murray and the playbook and not reading, whatever. They still have weapons on their team. I think they're going to be fine in this spot. I think it's going to be a very tight game. Kansas City's not just going to go there and roll. I like Arizona in this spot. And as I said, I like all these other games. I have a feeling I might go 6-0 with those games and like lose all these ones, but I got to take the generous points. Cheap. That's the Cardinal. People just think these guys are kind of come in there and wax these guys. I'm not sure. Everyone thinks Arizona is going to be dog crap. We'll see. I like 6 points at home. Home dogs. That's my style. Give me Arizona. And I also like the Chargers, Pat, but the thing is, everyone's on the Raiders. I think the Chargers actually beat the Raiders by double digits, but I'll land on Arizona.
Yeah, but you have to remember that the Chargers are the spreadsheet all-stars, so they'll do something stupid to fuck it up, and all of a sudden they're just down by 48 points in the first quarter. It's like, how did this happen? It's like, oh, we squib kicked it through our own end zone for some reason. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, Chargers, let's go.
That's true.
And
the thing that sucks about the Chargers, sorry to cut you off, Pat, but like they're playing a road game at home, right? All the time, especially against the Raiders, right? They're going to have to do silent counts on offense. Like, what are we talking about here? It's insane that they have no home field advantage.
Nope. I don't mind the Arizona pick, actually, now that it's up to 6. I agree that the Chiefs are going to be pretty good, but we see Arizona start out hot every single year, and then Kyler gets banged up or something else happens. And I just looked into it. Someone brought this to my attention last night when I was doing my fantasy football draft, Rob. After October 28th, probably don't bet the Cardinals anymore. That's when the new Call of Duty is being released.
I thought you were going to say because of Cliff Kingsbury in the second half of every year where his teams just shit the bed, no matter whether it's college football or NFL. But that is pretty – I mean, listen, this Cardinals team, I think they're bad personally. I think that their cornerback situation is dire right now, where they're going to be heading into the week 1 of the season with the worst cornerback situation in the league. But all that is already accounted for, right? That's why the line has moved the way it has, because of the way that Arizona is heading into week 1 with the corners. I think there are question marks around KC. I think KC is going to be dominant again. I think they're actually underrated in the sense that everybody's looking for the team that's going to beat them in the AFC West. I still think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West, but I do have legitimate concerns about them stretching the field without Tyreek Hill. I'd like to see that. I mean, you typically had a speedster who could burn down the field, really create all these like multi-level plays and routes that this team could run on offense. I don't know how that works this year. I guess we all agree here. I think Arizona would be the side at 6. With that said, if they lost 37-7, it wouldn't surprise me.
I have zero confidence in all my selections. None. But that's good. That's a good thing, because sometimes when I do that, we have those 2-1 or 3-0 weeks. But honestly, well, what am I going to do? I want to take Seattle against Denver. There's so many. You know what the problem with the NFL is, Rob? We have to do 3 picks. I don't like betting 3 games. I like I usually have 7 or 8, and that's the way I roll. If I go 5-3, 6-2, whatever, party time. I know people be selective. Ooh, pick a couple. No, that's not who I am. I'm a buffet man. I'm not a la carte. I like more picks. Like Washington, I think, is going to beat Jacksonville. Like, there's a lot of games that I like.
So, Cam, Cam, I want to throw this by you because Cuss Corner 36D was just released up on Mayo Media Network. I suggest everyone go check it out.
And 36D, what was it? Spanx? What's that new bra without the wires?
Hey, A, B, and C already came out. It's all part of the same series. I didn't want to release one 10-hour show. Had to chop it up. But Cuss suggested that any new restaurant that opens be required to have a buffet. Do you agree?
I love that. Actually, that's one of Cuss' best takes.
That is a horrible take.
I think it should always be a buffet option. Hey, no. I want buffet. That's the whole problem. I want a little bit of steak. That's why I love cruising, Pat. When I went on a cruise, you go, I want the steak. And you're like, ooh, you see the seafood fettuccine? Hey, give me some of that too. You can ask for all these things and you get it. And that's the thing. It's variety is the spice of life. I love it. I'm not saying let's go down to the Golden Corral and eat, day-old chicken wings there. It can get. I've heard from people it's a glorified cafeteria.
Hold on. You wouldn't eat day-old chicken wings? Come on.
Oh, I eat week-old chicken wings. I'm just saying I've never been to the Golden Corral, and people are telling me when I talk to our American friends that it's basically a cafeteria with a buffet. But I'm going to give it a shot. They have all-you-can-eat ribs and wings. Can't say no to that.
Rob, come on.
I've never been a big buffet person personally. I think it's like different. I just don't want to keep getting up and going to the buffet, especially I've seen stuff at buffets before that will make you never want to eat at a buffet again.
Well, I'm not talking about guys back in the day without the plexiglass sneezing all over the snow crab. I'm just, they got protective mirrors and stuff. You should have a corner of the buffet, Pat, just for choice. Like chicken here, you know what I mean? Just a nice little type of area in there.
You worked in restaurants. Restaurants barely make any money as it is. Buffets certainly don't make any money. The reason that casinos have buffet and give them out for $5 is to get you in, so you lose $5,000 playing blackjack.
Well, you're in the wrong business then. Maybe you should have gone into waste management. You opened up a restaurant. That's your fault. You know what I mean? Like, do the research. I'm just saying you should have choice as a consumer. Hey, buddy, inflation's killing us. Have you been to the grocery store lately? I'm buying things. I used to get 8 bags at No Frills. I'm walking out for $40. Now everything was like, I used to get, Rob, you know that's the deal. I got those big bag of chicken wings. The regular ones with no sauce are the best. $5.99. You can't get them for anything under $10 to $12 now. Everything's doubled. It's a joke. Bring on the buffet.
Either they've doubled the price or what they charge the same price and they've reduced the quantity of what you get. That's the bigger scam.
And
right
smaller
there.
bags and stuff too. That's an old trick with coffee and potato chips though. 60 Minutes with Andy Rooney was exposing those losers. Like, that's the thing. You get a tin full of coffee. The thing's halfway full. Chips aren't 200 grams anymore. They're 160, 140. Everybody knows, right?
Cam, you need your guy with the inside source that you used to go to with the pricing gun. You need to go find that guy when you go in.
He's hard to find because he's way at the other side of the city. So for the price of me getting there, it depends how much ammunition he has in the gun. If we can get like a nice beef tenderloin and knock that down, that's perfect because that could be $100 slab.
Well, maybe Rob, you can get $100 slab if you hit your bronze pick. Let's hear it.
Yeah, hit it.
I'm going to do this one in honor of Cam. I was going to pick this regardless, but now hearing Cam mention it as well, I'm going to Monday Night Football. I'm going to play this a little differently, though. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks first half plus 3.5.
Love it.
Rather than full game. Listen, I'm gonna credit a friend of mine. His name is Ken Barkley. He's a great dude. He's been talking about this for years in terms of primetime games, taking the home dog in the first half. The market has not caught up to this yet. Eventually they will. But for some reason or another, these ugly pooches tend to cover early on in the games. And then the better team takes over in the second half and wins the game. This is a very emotional game for both teams. Obviously, people think that Russell Wilson is just going to roll in there. Yeah. And because, he doesn't like Pete Carroll, he's just going to throw a million touchdowns. It's going to be game over. This line is kind of getting out of whack now. Personally, I believe that. I think that the Seahawks have a very good defensive line. They could cause some issues for Wilson in the early going. Yes, he's going to a team that has a better offensive line, but I do like the Seahawks defensive line quite a bit. They do have weapons on offense. I'm obviously concerned about the quarterback situation. People don't have to remind me who the quarterbacks are for the Seattle Seahawks. I get it. They still have 2 very good receivers there, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I just think that this is too many points for a first
Geno
half
Smith,
play.
know what the funny thing is? Take a look at his numbers, ATS versus Russell Wilson at the tail end of their careers. Geno Smith might not be great, but he covered numbers because they got no respect. Rob, you remember the games against Pittsburgh and everybody else. He was covering numbers as a dog because they were inflated.
He went 2-2 ATS last season. Then Russell Wilson came back without a finger and tried to play.
Oh, he had to have a winning record. Are you kidding me? I thought it was like 3-1, 2-2.
2-2.
Okay.
Yeah, he covered the overtime game and he covered the Jacksonville game.
Yes, he did. Actually, didn't he? No, Russell Wilson played against Detroit. Okay, Patrick, I think you might be right there. I should stick to buffets and price guns.
Russell Wilson came back like 2 months early from a severed finger in order to play because Geno Smith was so bad.
Yeah, he covered some numbers. But anyway, it's inflated points, don't you think, guys?
I agree.
Seattle on Monday?
I agree. I think it's inflated points. Give me a 13-10 Broncos at the half. I'll happily collect my money, and then Denver can go on to win 34-13 or something like that, and I'll move on with life. But I do think that there is something to this. Like, this is a very raucous crowd, primetime game. I don't like. There's just way too many narratives being built about Wilson wanting to beat Seattle. And I will point out, I actually do like the defense more so than the quarterback whenever these types of matchups happen, because the defense is practiced against that like they know the tendencies of that opposing quarterback. They practice against him regularly, so on and so forth. So I don't really put much stock into like, the quarterback knows the defense. No, I think it's the complete opposite way around. Anyways, pure value play. Don't think Seattle's a good team. I do think Denver's a good team. Yep. Give me that 3.5 in the first half. And when they're down by 21 at the half, I will just log off for the night.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That brings me to my bronze pick of the week. And the books are too cowardly all over the planet, Rob, they refuse to release any James Robinson total yardage props, which I want to smash the under on, because I guess they know that guy coming back from is what we were doing to Cam Akers in the playoffs last year. It's like guy coming back very quickly from Achilles injury. Just bet under on all of those things. But they have not released any yet, so that kind of screws me over here. I want to throw this out to you guys because, I mean, I'm starting to get like really cold feet about the Niners and the Bears game because it looks like Kittle might not play now. Debo's still kind of banged up. They're not going to have their center. Like, and just Chicago should be so bad, and somehow they're not going to be bad, and that's going to screw me over to no end. I was looking at the Commanders just like you were. I've kind of flipped on that throughout the week. I like the Jags at plus 3.5, but now that it's 2.5, not sure what to do with this. But I think I'm just going to buck what I think is the public sentiment on this one because it seems to me, and maybe Rob and Cam, you can both confirm this, that every year coming into the season that everyone has the same two sleeper teams to win the Super Bowl. It's Minnesota in the NFC and the Chargers in the AFC, right?
Yes. That's every single year. Correct.
Yeah. So Minnesota has a new coach. So all of a sudden they're great? Nah, not a chance. Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVP. On the other side, getting only laying 1.5 points. I don't care that it's in Minnesota. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. Yeah, they lose Devontae Adams. The offense is going to be fine. But I think the critical piece of the Packers that everyone is overlooking is that the Packers defense is excellent. And
it is.
Yeah.
And it only got better in the offseason. If they can piece together the red zone efficiency of Devontae Adams, they can figure out ways to manufacture their way down the field. But if they can remain as efficient in the red zone, like when they had Devontae Adams, you're going to kill the Packers. They're at least going to win by 3. Put it that way.
Here's the deal, though. Packers notorious slow starters. Will their young receivers get acclimated with Rodgers? That's the thing. They always come out of the gate cold. Minnesota's at home. Kirk Cousins is not as bad as everyone thinks. They have major weapons. Minnesota has a defense, young players. They're going to be better as the year progresses. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that. That's a tough place to play, Pat. I'm telling you, I think Minnesota wins that game. But hey, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I like Green Bay minus 1.5 here. Just when it comes down honestly, it's a very rudimentary way of capping, and Rob, you're not going to enjoy this, but any game that's under 3 points, I look at both quarterbacks and take the better one.
You know what? I've oftentimes thought about just going back the past couple decades and saying, like, just bet the best quarterback in every game and see what the ATS record is, because I'm pretty sure you'd be in a pretty good spot if you did that, because you look at the end of the season every year, at least for many years, all these top quarterbacks had the best ATS records. So I don't have a strong opinion on this game. I think the Vikings are actually pretty good teaser material in this game. I don't see too many instances where they get completely blown out at home. With that said, I do think that there's a lot of validity to what Pat is saying. We see this every year, right? Like, a lot of people are always talking about the Vikings record in close games, and they're like, oh, the Vikings last year, they lost this many games, 8 of their 9 losses were by a touchdown or less, and there's going to be some positive regression, and that never comes to fruition. But that was always the case because Mike Zimmer was there. And I think Mike Zimmer always put the team in a position to lose close games because when they got a lead, he would sit on it, run the ball, very ultra conservative. I wonder if that's going to change with O'Connell. I don't know that it is, but I'm higher on Minnesota this year just because I think it's addition by subtraction at head coach.
Couldn't agree more.
You get rid of the old school, bring in someone new. I think that elevates their performance. That said, Green Bay is in the same boat every year. People are always like, oh, Green Bay, they're going to regress. This is the year that they get worse because they win all these close games. Their point differential is never good. They're scraping by the skin of their teeth. They do that every year because they have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. And when it comes down to a final drive and you have Aaron Rodgers to win a close game, the chances are you're going to win the close game. So I don't buy into that stuff either. I think this line is right. I think Green Bay is deserving of being a very small favorite. I don't hate your rationale, Pat, in that close game. Expect it to be a close game. Let me just take the better quarterback. I don't actually hate that, as dumb as it may sound to some people. But I do think that Minnesota has some real upside this year, not the fake upside under Mike Zimmer.
I almost went with the Bucks with the same logic. Like, you give me Brady versus Dak towards the end of the game, and I just don't think that. I mean, you're the Cowboys fan. Like, is Jason Peters just going to step in and all of a sudden the offensive line is fixed?
No. And so some books have started to post these team totals in this game. Like, to me, Bucks team total over 26 or 26.5 To me, that's a banger of a play. People are, everyone's like, oh, the Bucks offensive line and so on and so forth. It's probably going to, they have a worse offensive line, especially the interior. Now go and think about Dallas's defense, and where does Dallas generate pressure? Are they generating pressure through the middle of the field? No, never. Their defensive line in the interior stinks. They don't have anyone that can generate pass rush in the middle of the field. They're going to have their best players on the outside, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, going after the best tackles, the best part of the offensive line, which is the tackles for the Bucks. You still have Tom Brady there. I think the Cowboys secondary is way overrated. I agree. I mean, maybe this is just pessimistic Cowboys fan. For those who know me, I am pretty pessimistic Cowboys fan, but no chance in hell I would be taking Dallas this week. I think that's a Tampa Bay or nothing game.
Trying to find it right now. Anytime touchdown scores. Maybe this is something we can do, because I'm doing the Monday show on the Hammer with Spreadopedia, and we're doing a same game parlay for the Monday nighter. Maybe I can give one away right here. It's just over Fournette receptions, over Fournette receiving yards, because it feels like this is a bad offensive line, pressure from the outside, leak out Fournette, dump off City. That's how Brady moves the chains. That's how this game works.
And knowing the Cowboys, they will give that up all game long and never be able to adapt to it. That's just like the most Cowboys situation. As a fan, I'll watch the games. The same thing happens over and over. Dan Quinn is going to be up in the press box, and you're going to show him like 48 million times over the course of the game while they're just leaking yardage to the other team. I'll be pleasantly surprised if the Cowboys these teams played the first game of last year. It was a very close game, if you guys recall. Tampa was favored at home in that one by like 6 or 6.5. Dallas almost won. Dallas was +3 in turnover margin in that game, and they still lost. There's still a sizable difference between these two teams, in my opinion. So I'll be rooting on the Cowboys as a fan, but I'm not optimistic about their chances in this game.
Well, if you want to win some money and with no risk, get in the draw for the Pat Mayo Experience. I'm giving away $1,000 in cold, hard cash. All you need to do is subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Turn on those auto downloads for me. Thank you very much. Don't need to listen. Just need to download. Leave a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Include your Twitter handle or your email so I can contact you if you're a winner. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel where you're here and smash the like on the way out. I want to thank Rob. I want to thank Cam. And if you want to see more of Rob, Cam, and myself, head on over to thehammer.bet, as we'll have our Survivor picks every single week, including week 1. So go over there right now. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!